Welcome to episode 1 of Replay Assist. My name is Breck, Lotz. Thank you for joining me. So I had originally recorded this episode, and when I went to upload it, the audio just didn't work. Phenomenal. Great for the show. Great start. But anyway, I'm re-recording episode 1. We're going to do it a little differently. So originally I had covered all the games from the weekend, but now that we're moving on into the weekend, we're one day away from Thursday Night Football. I just don't really see a point in going back and covering all the games again. So I'm just going to cover some of the significant games that happened over the weekend. And then there's some really good national news stories that have been getting covered this week out of the NFL that I really want to get to because I have some takes about them. So let's just get right into it. We're going to do this, by the way. When I originally recorded this, I went to go back and edit it, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do this in one take just for this first time. And I hope it's good. Let's start. Commanders, Packers. Here's my takeaway from this game. You need to protect Jaden more. Jaden is the most important part of your team. This is a huge theme in the NFL this year. Protect the quarterback. Harbaugh's been talking about with Herbert. All he says is, all I think about is protecting Justin Herbert. He's the most important player on the team, blah, blah, blah. You have to protect the quarterback. We just saw where Jaden's going through it right now. Joe Burrow's going through it mega bad, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But you have to protect the quarterback. It is the number one most important part of the game. And they didn't do a good job of doing that. Jaden's banged up. He's not injured. I would just say he's hurt. Debo looked good. Eckler being out is going to suck. And the defense looks old and slow. Packers. This is a Super Bowl potential team, obviously. You've seen them play for 2 weeks. You know this team is going to make some noise in this league. The defense, the pass rush is they're just undeniable. You cannot stop the pressure that this rush is going to produce. They obviously won the Micah Parsons trade. He's showing his production. But the biggest thing about this defense is that what's going on up front is really good. But what's happening in the secondary is phenomenal. These cornerbacks, these safeties, they are playing lockdown coverage. And the Packers play a lot of zone, and they are just so effective at getting to the ball, playing the ball, not letting the receiver get touches on it. They played incredible. It was really fun to watch, honestly. Jordan Love was airing it out all night. He looked great. Felt like Tucker Kraft had 300 yards this game. Josh Jacobs is still really good at football, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you knew that, but he is still an incredible running back. And he showed out in this game. Matt LaFleur has got to be feeling good about this team. Moving on. Giants-Cowboys. Giants 37, Cowboys 40. So I really just want to talk about the Giants here. If I was a Giants fan, I would be so furious right now with the organization. It is super, super dysfunctional from top to bottom. And honestly, it's more at the top than the bottom. Russell Wilson comes out in week 2 and plays the greatest game he has played in over 6 years. He throws for 450 yards and 3 touchdowns, has an unbelievable performance, and Brian Daboll absolutely sold the game. Absolutely. They should have won this game 3 different times, and he sold them every single time. There were just coaching mistakes, and the penalties were terrible. I mean, that tackle, 4 penalties on your first drive in the league. Well, what are you doing? Calm down, dude. You gotta relax. It's like way too much. The team's just undisciplined, obviously, but the offense looked great. But my biggest problem is the play that set up Brandon Aubrey for the game-tying field goal to send it into overtime. This play makes no sense to me. From a football purist point of view, this play makes no sense. There's less than a minute left in the game. Dallas has 1 timeout. Russell Wilson throws a bomb down the field to essentially win you the game. All you have to do is deny Brandon Aubrey a field goal. What you also have to understand is that Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker in the National Football League. To Brandon Aubrey, a 45-yard field goal and a 60-yard field goal are probably the same thing. Realistically, they're probably the same thing for him. Especially because when he talks about kicking, he's a feel kicker. And so he doesn't go through like this whole process. Like he just feels everything out. And when you're a feel guy and you're the best in the league, that just means you're going to be the best probably for a while. But here's my problem. So they have the best kicker in the league. Before the ball is snapped, the most shallow zone in the Giants defense, the most shallow coverage, is playing 15 yards downfield. Before the ball's even snapped, they're running back into coverage 20 to 25 down the field. Dak sees this pre-snap and goes, Ferguson is going to be wide open 25 yards down the field. And he's going to run and turn around, and I'll throw the ball to him before he even thinks about the ball coming to him. Like, obviously he's throwing the ball before Ferguson's looking, but like, Dak is licking his chops walking up to the ball. He sees so much space in the middle of the field. He's going to use it, especially because they have a timeout. So they throw it down the middle of the field. They get 20, 25 yards. They set up Aubrey for the field goal. How does Brian Daboll let this happen? How does he let that much space be open in the middle of the field? How is he not like, we need to contain the middle of the field because we don't want this guy to get a kickoff? I would rather Dak beat me on a Hail Mary in double coverage on a receiver than give them 25 yards down the middle and have Brandon Aubrey kick a field goal to tie it and send it into overtime. Like, it just wasn't a good coaching decision. It was so bizarre. I didn't get the coverage at all. It was just wild to me. Yeah, it just didn't make sense. And this is just again, this organization is dysfunctional. Let's talk about what, like, the insult to injury that's been happening. Saquon, you lost Saquon. He rushed for 2,000 yards as the number one player in the NFL and won a Super Bowl. Then Daniel Jones looked like the most incompetent quarterback in New York. Preseason, people were saying Daniel Jones, the best he will ever be in the NFL, is a backup quarterback. If you look at Daniel Jones' first two games for the Colts, which they are 2-0, if you look at his stats for the first two games, cover up his name. He has this similar, if not the same numbers as Josh Allen. Like, if you covered up his numbers, you'd be like, oh, that's Josh Allen. Yeah, that's the MVP of the National Football League. How? That is so wild to me. How does Daniel Jones go from backup quarterback to all-pro numbers? It's the organization. It's bad. And if I was a Giants fan, this would be like, I would be like heavily, heavily, heavily worried about this. This is not good signs coming from New York. Daboll needs to go. Just need to get rid of Daboll. GM needs to go. Fucking Joe Schmuck, whatever his name is. All right, Patriots-Dolphins. This is just really quick. Dolphins. Mike McDaniel is probably going to be the first head coach fired this year. I just don't think he fits the head coach position. He just is more... He should just be a coordinator. That's kind of like... He doesn't have the bravado or the charisma to be a head coach in the NFL. Like, you have to be a leader of men. I don't think he's a leader of men. I think he is a technician of the playbook. I think he could run an offense really, really well, and that's what he did in San Francisco. I don't think he should be the head coach of a football team. Also, Tua can't see anything over the middle. Like, the linebackers just must be a blur to him, or ghosts, because he can't see them. It's not looking good for Dolphins. Really not looking good. I mean, you play the Bills Thursday night. There's no Thursday night football game this week. If you were planning on watching Thursday night football, don't. All right, moving on. Colts-Broncos. This is such a tough game. I mean, it was a great game, but really tough call for the Broncos at the end here. You just feel like that shouldn't be a penalty, and you feel like you shouldn't lose, but it's just something you can't do. And it feels like bullshit, and it kind of is, but that's what it is. Colts, you're 2-0. Daniel Jones looks like an all-pro quarterback. Jonathan Taylor is still such a disgusting running back. I would be super excited as a Colts fan. You have a serious chance to make a run this year in that division, so I would get excited. All right, Eagles-Chiefs. This game has been talked a lot in the national news. Here are my thoughts. So first of all, the Chiefs did not lose this game because of the tush-push. The tush-push did not win the Eagles this game. The Chiefs lost this game because they couldn't pass the ball. You're missing wide receiver 1 and 2. That's not great, but you can't get anything going. You got Travis going a little bit, but then Travis ended up like handing he basically handed the ball over at the end of the game on the goal line. And Mahomes had a chance. He had a blown coverage on the left side of the field. He had a receiver wide open. He overthrew him by a mile. And it's Mahomes. It's like he should make that throw every day. So they lost the game because they couldn't move the rock down the field. And Mahomes had to do it with his feet. Mahomes ran super efficiently in this game, but they just couldn't get it going in the air. They got dominated at the line of scrimmage. Jalen Carter was back. His presence was felt. I think Jalen Carter looks a little slow. It is his first game of the year. I was reading something that they were saying maybe he needs to lose a little weight, and I think he agreed with it. I think he also might have hurt his wrist in that game. But, all right, Eagles. So, the offense was so boring. Like, it was painful to watch. The fact that Jalen Hurts has more tush-push attempts than passes that have traveled 10-plus air yards is insane to me. We need to be more creative. We need to get the ball moving. I know it's a new offensive coordinator. I know they have a lot of kinks to work out, but it did not look good on Sunday against the Chiefs in Arrowhead. And so I again with the tush push, this needs to be said. The Chiefs did not lose this game because of the tush push. The Chiefs lost this game because their offense didn't show up to play football. The tush push, should it be banned? No, it shouldn't. Do the refs need to enforce the rules of the National Football League? Yes. This is not a play that is like that you can't officiate. I don't know, or people are getting this idea that like this play is all of a sudden you can't officiate it and it's whatever. If the Chiefs were the team that were doing the tush push and they were as successful as the Eagles, the national news would say that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player of all time and that this offense cannot be stopped. And that's the truth, and you and I both know it. And if you don't think so, you're lying to yourself. You know damn well that's how it would go. Here's the idea with the tush push. Is it a scrum? Yeah. Is it a football play? Yeah. If the play is run correctly, you should get about 1 to 2 yards every time. If we false start, and they don't call it, that's not on us. That's on the refs. I say us. I'm like us. Look at me. That's how worked up I am about it. I feel like I'm on the team. Should I get in a 3-point stance? Here, let me get a 3-point stance. Ready? Hut. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, I'm like, I'm dead serious about this whole this tush push thing. It's a scrum, yeah, but it's a football play. It is. It truly is. And if the refs aren't going to call flag, like if the refs don't have the balls to throw a flag and be like, "Ooh, was that a false start? I don't know. Oh, I'm not going to do anything." If they don't have the balls to do it, then they don't have the balls to do it. You cannot blame the Eagles for the refs fucking up the calls. You cannot do that. So I want to get that out there. Oh, by the way, if every single team in the National Football League could do the tush push, every single team would do it, and then this wouldn't even be a problem. Because we would be like, that's a quarterback sneak. That's not a tush push. That's a quarterback sneak. But no other team can do it. Like, you can't just pick on the Eagles because they can do it and you can't. But I understand where the frustration comes from, where they're false starting or they're lined up in the neutral zone and there's no flag. You should be mad at the league for that. That's the league's fault. And the ref's fault for not throwing the flag. Not the Eagles' fault. But that's what I have to say about the tush push. All right. Moving on. Monday Night Football. Bucs-Texans. Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, bro. Like this. Literally like this. It's insane. Baker, I posted a tweet on this, but if the Bengals ruin Joe Burrow's career and Baker Mayfield wins a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, Ohio has to indefinitely forfeit football. They have to give it up. Because if you fuck up that bad twice, you don't deserve football. You don't. I don't think you do. Baker Mayfield he didn't have his left tackle this game. He lost his right tackle early. He was getting smoked all game, pressured. But when it mattered, when he needed to drive down the field and get a score for the win, he did, because that's what Baker Mayfield does. He lights a fire under the team's ass and he says, it's time to go. I'm going to throw darts all over the field. I'm going to run. I'm going to look for contact. I'm going to be gritty. That's what he did. He got the win. He is amazing. And since he has joined Tampa Bay, he has been a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He's incredible. Incredible. And Browns fans right now are miserable. Browns Twitter is miserable right now. Texans. It's not a sophomore slump. CJ Stroud is just bad. He just doesn't look good. And I think there's multiple factors that play into this. One, the offense looks terrible. It's the least creative playbook I've ever seen in my life. 3rd and 10 in the fourth quarter in a dire situation. They ran 4 verts straight out of Madden with a post route in the middle. CJ looked downfield and then threw a ball 5 yards across the line of scrimmage into Levante David's chest. What is happening? He was missing throws. Like, people aren't open. It was just bad. The offense just looks so bad. He looks flustered in the pocket. Like, he either doesn't have enough time or something is wrong in Houston. And an 0-2 start for this team is very, very bad. Very bad. Not a good look. Especially when you were skeptical about CJ Stroud, whether or not it was a sophomore slump. It's starting to just look like a slump. And then Raiders-Chargers. Geno Smith played one of the worst games I have ever seen a quarterback play. He was 0-4 in passes, aired out over 10 yards. Just absolutely brutal. But, yeah, the Raiders just couldn't get anything going. The offensive line was terrible, which probably attributed to Geno's lack of success. Chargers, you're a good football team. Justin Herbert is a really good quarterback. He's finally starting to come into form. The offense looks good, but the defense looks even better. Derwin James had the freaking game of his life. That defense was getting pressures. That defense was smothering receivers. That team looked like they're going to win the AFC West. Jim Harbaugh doing a fantastic job in Los Angeles. All right. Those were the significant things out of week 2 of the NFL. Let's talk about week 3 college football. I just want to cover some games really quick. All right. Florida 10, LSU 20. Florida. DJ Lagway, 5 interceptions this game. Billy Napier's a dead man walking. We knew this. We knew this for a while. If you are the coach at University of Florida and you lose to another team in your state, you're a dead man walking. But losing to USF, like, ooh, you're double dead man walking. Like, I don't even know what the term would be. It's just bad. And now you lost to LSU. Now you have it's over. Your season's over. It's not looking good in Florida. LSU, your run game is terrible. Nussmeier had some bad decision making. And that probably, Nussmeier's lack of success probably comes from the run game being bad, and that's kind of how it works. Like, if you can't get the run game going, it's hard to get the passing game going because you kind of need both to rely on each other to keep the defense guessing. But LSU didn't look great. They won the game. They didn't look great. Brian Kelly's post-game press conference was hilarious. He's been down in LSU for a couple of years. He has this fake Cajun accent where he's like, y'all are spoiled. We're 17-1 in 9 games. Like, dude, what are you talking about? You couldn't run the ball. You beat Louisiana Tech by 2 scores. You have to figure that out. You're the top 3 team in the nation. You should be smoking Louisiana Tech because come time December when shit is going to matter, you need to be ready to go, and that run game needs to be established. So, I just thought Brian Kelly's hilarious, but LSU has some stuff to figure out. I think they're still a great football team. Don't get me wrong. LSU is a great team. They just need to get they need to figure out the run game. They just need to get their offense going so that Nussmeier can sling it. Because Nussmeier is good. He has potential. Miami 49, USF 12. I mean, you could have saw this coming from a mile away. Miami looks great, but like it's USF. I don't think it's anything to like go crazy over. I think USF is still like a good football team, but it's Miami. Miami looks good this year. Carson Beck is slinging it. This is a good game for them. Miami just put the beat down on them. Georgia 44, Tennessee 41. I bet Tennessee in this game, and honestly, it didn't, like, I covered a spread, but it didn't feel like I won. It just didn't. I was pulling for this Tennessee team so bad, man. And shout out my buddy Cummings. I was texting him the entire game. I felt so bad at how that game ended because Joey Aguilar is a dog, and that team deserved that win, and it just sucked how that game ended. It felt like they could have won the game multiple times when they were up 8, and then they let the touchdown up and the 2-point, and then the field goal. They missed the field goal. It was just brutal, absolutely brutal. But I think some things to take away from this game are Joey Aguilar's a dog. Tennessee has a dog. Tennessee, you will be in the college football playoffs, and you will be making noise this entire year. I think Joey Aguilar is going to make a Heisman case. I think, so UGA. Everybody was down on Gunnar Stockton. People were selling his stock, and then he came out here and was launching the rock. I mean, they were showing his stats in the first 2 weeks of passing downfield, and then passing downfield compared to Tennessee, and it was just a complete 180. He was airing it out. He definitely looked more comfortable, and Kirby Smart had this team dialed up. I got to give it to Kirby. This is a really good win. That is 9 straight Georgia has beat Tennessee, and that was another thing where I was just, Tennessee lost, and I was like, oh, man, like, 9 straight. That would have broken the streak, and it should have. Oh, it should have. So disappointing, but it's all right. Tennessee, you'll be in the playoff. Just grind out the rest of the year. You'll be all right. A&M and Notre Dame. This is just another, like, oh my God, this is brutal. Notre Dame, you kind of had to win this game to keep your season alive. You lost your season opener against Miami on a close one. You lose this game by 1 point. It is just absolutely gut-wrenching. And the way you lose the game is your placeholder, the veteran, can't hold the snap. And it's just absolutely brutal. I mean, such a tough loss. I thought Notre Dame had the game the entire way. I thought Notre Dame was going to win this game from kickoff to the final play, or I guess up until they missed the extra point. Just brutal. These are 2 brutal losses in college football. These were 2 super significant games. And then Clemson loses to Georgia Tech. I mean, this is insane. How does this happen? And I understand, I don't know how the AP poll works. I don't know how they rank teams. I don't know how they evaluate them. But Clemson being this team that is like a national title contender and then nearly starting the season 0-3. I mean, they almost lost to Troy. They just lost to Georgia Tech. At what point are we just like, Dabo, what's going on? And Dabo was saying, people are calling for my job. I've won the ACC like every year since I've been here and blah, blah, blah. And we won a national championship and blah, blah, blah. It's like, yes, you are correct. But Clemson before Dabo Swinney, they had won, I think they won a national, their last ACC championship before Dabo. Dabo joined Clemson in 2009, and their last ACC championship before Dabo was 91. So Dabo definitely is Clemson football, but at some point you have to question, like, what is going on? Like, this is bad. This is not a good start. Well, excuse me. Not a good start is an understatement. Your season is over. Your season just ended 3 games in, and you've played Troy and Georgia Tech. How is your season over after Troy and Georgia Tech? That's the problem. Clemson fans, remorse everywhere. Your season's over. I don't know. That was college football. All right, here are the national news stories I want to get to. 3 of them really quick. The first one is Joe Burrow. So he is out for a minimum of 3 months. He will likely miss the rest of the season. But essentially, so I will paint the scenario for you. If he came back after 3 months, he would miss 12 games, and he would play the last 3. The last 3 they play are like the Browns, the Dolphins, and another not-so-great team. So 3 winnable games. In order for the Bengals to have their playoff hopes alive by the time he comes back, if he comes back and everything is perfect rehab, perfect everything, perfect recovery, that would mean that Jake Browning would have to lead the Bengals to 5 wins out of 12 games during that stretch. So you have to go through their schedule and you have to say, can they win 5 of those 12 games with Browning? And if they can, does Burrow come back? Here's what I think about this. I think Burrow's season is over. Even if Browning gets the wins, I don't know if they're going to risk putting Burrow back in for those last 3 games. I don't think they would. But you never know. Here's really what I want to talk about. The Bengals organization has completely failed Joe Burrow. They are ruining, and this has gotten to the point where we are now ruining prime years of Joe Burrow, who could potentially have a Hall of Fame quarterback career. And they've done nothing. They have done nothing to improve the protection up front. And again, the theme in the NFL, protect the quarterback. That is the theme this year. And the Bengals haven't done much to protect their quarterback, and they're paying for it. Joe Burrow has been getting a lot of injuries. He's been getting hit a lot early on in his career, and it's costing them. And this was a big thing that was going on in national news. And this is insane. This is crazy. Andrew Luck and Joe Burrow NFL careers. So Andrew Luck played 6 seasons in the NFL. Joe Burrow is currently in his 6th. Here are their side-by-side stats for 4 categories. QB contact. Andrew Luck, 828. Joe Burrow, 634. Joe Burrow, he still has the entire full season to accrue those numbers, but now he's hurt and he's going to miss a lot of time. Contact percentage. Andrew Luck, 21%. Joe Burrow, 20. Sacked. Andrew Luck, 174. Joe Burrow, 201. Pressure percentage. Andrew Luck, 28%. Joe Burrow, 27%. Andrew Luck played 6 seasons in the National Football League and then retired because of injuries. Is Joe Burrow the next Andrew Luck? Are we going to see a Hall of Fame talent's career end early because an organization failed to protect them? The most important asset of their team. It's wild to me. And it's honestly, it's sad to see because Joe Burrow is such a pleasure to watch play football. I mean, he's an incredible talent. And to even think that his career could end this early and to even think that he could be the next Andrew Luck is terrible to think about. And Bengals fans, you really got to be concerned and you really got to be worried. And I would be heavily concerned. I wouldn't even care about winning this weekend. I would be like, how are we going to protect Joe Burrow? Are we going to have Joe Burrow? It's a problem. But that was a big story. The next one's Brady in the booth. This is obviously a conflict of interest. He gets to meet privately with teams during the week as a broadcaster to get some info on, injury reports and kind of schemes and what they're kind of doing and what they're looking for to help him out with the broadcast. then he's going up in the booth and helping the guys on the headset for the Raiders. And it's a complete conflict of interest when he's going to go call the Bears game, and then the next week, the Raiders play the Bears. It's a conflict of interest. And if you can't see it, then you're blind. But here's what I will say. While it is conflict of interest, the information being given to Brady during the week, like by the teams that he meets with, is not information that could significantly impact the outcome of the game. It is information, though, and it is stuff that you could use for game planning, but it's not like the secret recipe or the secret formula to winning the NFL game. But yeah, he shouldn't be allowed to do it. He should not be allowed to get inside information from teams and then go into the booth and put on a headset. It is obviously a conflict of interest. And then lastly, I just want to talk about the Vikings really quick. I think the Vikings, they have an interesting story here because with McCarthy experiencing injury issues early on in his career, did the Vikings make the right decision at the QB position? Did letting Sam Darnold walk, was that the right move at the time, at this very time? I don't know. And honestly, I'm starting to think so. I'm starting to think it was the wrong decision more and more. They have a lot of weapons on offense. They have Jettas. Addison is coming back. They have Hawkinson. And it just seems like they could use a consistent option at quarterback. And they don't have it. They have the running backs figured out. They have the weapons in the passing game, but they don't have the quarterback. And my dogs are barking right now, and they won't shut up. All right, back to what I was saying. Vikings. They have weapons, but they don't have a quarterback to get the ball to their weapons right now. So I don't think getting rid of Darnold was the right move. I think you honestly could have given JJ McCarthy more time to develop. And now you're relying on Wentz. I hope Wentz balls out, low-key. I hope he goes out and just slinging it because I kind of want the Vikings to be good. I want them to compete in that division. I think that division is a fun division when they're competitive. They were fun last year. Make them fun this year. Yeah, but if Wentz can suffice, like let's say Wentz comes out and is playing like consistently good football, do you give the reins back to McCarthy, or do you kind of just let Wentz ride with it and say, yo, JJ, take the time, let's learn stuff, let's develop, but this is like Wentz has to play well for this to happen. But if it does, like, do you let Wentz go? Just some food for thought. But those were the stories that I wanted to cover. Yeah, so that will conclude episode 1. Look out for Friday's episode. It's going to be a lot more exciting. I have segments scheduled. We're going to start some season-long bits and stuff. I got some stuff lined up where, I could be doing some punishments. I could be doing some stuff like that. So stay tuned. Look out for the episode release on Friday. I'm going to get this up as soon as I can. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.